So California has approved rules for converting sewage waste to drinking water. This happened about 2.5 weeks ago. And I saw it when it happened and I said, you know what? This is going to be a big deal. Not just because, one, it sounds absolutely disgusting, but I can guarantee you there's more to this than we realize. And sure as shit, y'all, I've got a lot to talk to you about today that involves our drinking water and what they are doing to it and how incredibly dangerous it could actually be to drink water at this point. Let me explain. All right, this is on... Look, it's 2024 and I'm still going to butcher this word. I still don't know if it's Reuters or Routers. I think it's Reuters. This is on Reuters. Reuters, Routers, whatever. This is on there. So listen to this. This was on December 19th. California regulators on Tuesday, December 19th, cleared the way for widespread use of advanced filtration. I need you to really listen to this so that you understand exactly what's happening after this. Listen. They cleared the way for widespread use of advanced filtration and treatment facilities designed to convert sewage waste into pure drinking water that can be pumped directly into systems feeding millions of household taps. Proven technologies capable of recycling wastewater for human consumption, a concept that was once derided by critics as toilet to tap, have gained greater credence in recent years as water-conscious California faces worsening drought cycles from climate change. Good old climate change making its way in here. More than a decade in the making. The regulations adopted by the State Water Resources Control Board represent a landmark in the quest to reclaim some of the hundreds of millions of gallons of waste discharge that flows out to sea unused each year. Today heralds a new era of water reuse, says Patricia Sinacropi, who is the executive director of the recycling trade group Weight Reuse, like water, but weight reuse, like capital W, lowercase ATE, capital R, EUSE, weight reuse, like water use, but weight reuse. Anyway, this is what it's called, Weight Reuse California. A number of communities have for years been blending highly purified wastewater into aquifers and reservoirs before people can drink it, a practice known in the parlance of engineers and resource managers as indirect potable reuse. In the sprawling Orange County suburbs south of Los Angeles, home to Disneyland and upscale beach towns, much of the drinking supply for 2.5 million people comes from highly distilled waste that is used to recharge the groundwater basin and eventually is drawn back to the surface. Now, let me explain to you why this is going to be a big deal. I will put a link to this article at the end of this video because it's a really long freaking article and we don't need the whole thing. It's just, I need you to understand they're converting wastewater to pure drinking water through filtration systems, okay? Remember that part. I do want to say that according to this, Los Angeles and San Diego also have plans to develop direct potable recycling, as does the Santa Clara Valley Water District in the San Francisco Bay Area. Texas is the only U.S. state to have previously approved direct potable recycling with 2 small-scale systems that went online in 2014 to serve towns stricken by a drought-caused water emergency. Colorado has also developed relatively limited guidelines for such projects. The technology for purifying wastewater is similar to that used in desalination, taking, salt water from the sea to turn into drinking water, the seemingly more palatable process of converting salt water to fresh. But recycling sewage is more environmentally friendly, lowering the amount of waste dumped into rivers and oceans while avoiding harm to marine life posed by ocean intake pipes used in diesel plants and the highly concentrated brine byproduct they discharge back into the sea. No, not diesel, desal, D-E-S-A-L. I think it's desal, like the desalination plants. That makes more sense. Another desalination drawback is the comparatively high cost of removing salt from seawater, which contains 30 times more dissolved impurities than sewer water and thus takes far more energy to distill. They say here that purified recycled water could eventually be expected to account for roughly 10 to 15% of supplies of some coastal communities in the midst of drought conditions. And I know you're asking yourself, actually you're asking me, Michelle, why is this important? Oh, I'm so glad you asked, y'all. Let me explain why. y'all, I cannot make any of these things up. I mean, I have a very active imagination, obviously, which is why I'm able to see the things I see and talk about the things I talk about. But I could not make this up if I tried. And why the hell would I want to? These things are awful. Listen, you ready? I'm going to wait for this really loud truck to go by me in a second. You're going to hear it in just a second. Somebody depleted their truck. They have no exhaust thingy majiggy. I don't know what it's called. Catback? No, that sounds wrong. Anyway, so this is on today. Okay, y'all see this right here? Can y'all see that? A viral, so it went away. Come back. Wait, I lost it. Wait a second. I don't know what I did. Come back here. Thanks for hanging out with me while this does whatever it's doing. Y'all know I don't edit. It is what it is. All right, let's try this again. Look, YouTube did not want this on there. So a viral social image post, media post. I can't read backwards. Let's do it this way. A viral social media post claims 1 in 3 people. Look, it really does not want me doing this. It keeps bumping me out of this entire thing. Y'all, when you're onto something, you're onto something. A viral social media post claims 1 in 3 people will get COVID this winter. Is it true? I need you to hear this. The United States is in the middle of a wintertime C-19 wave driven by holiday gatherings, people spending more time inside, waning immunity from low uptick of the new C-19 vaccine, and a new highly infectious COVID variant, JN.1. This is very important. We're getting to why this and the water go together. Listen, a viral social media post based on data from the U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, good old CDC, them three-letter entities, is calling this surge the second biggest C-19 wave in the history of the U.S. Y'all, in the history of the U.S., it's literally been out for like 3 years. So they made it sound like it's some huge thing, the history of the... It's been 3 years, y'all. Anyway, after the Omicron surge from late 2021 to early 2022, which infected more people than even the early days of the pandemic. That's what they're saying. So what I'm hearing there is they're saying right now it's so contagious. It's out of control, and it's the most contagious it's been. Although each time it's more contagious, it's also really less health wise. Look, it keeps kicking everything out of here. It's less health scary, right? You're not hearing the same things of hospitals overtaken and hospital beds and people on ventilators and, deaths and whatever else. So just keep that part in mind. But according to this, I'm not going to read all this stuff. This says, Dr. Lucky Tran said the pandemic is still raging. We are in the second largest surge of the pandemic. Models suggest 2 million people a day will be infected at the peak, and 100 million or 1 in 3 people will likely get C-19 overall during the entire wave. Now, this is a science communicator, Lucky Tran's a science communicator at Columbia University Irving Medical Center, who compiled the CDC data into a graph, which has been shared widely on Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter. Tran also said in his post that projections show as many as 1 in 3 people in the U.S., not the world, just the U.S., could be, see these words, could be infected with C-19 during the peak months of the current wave, and up to 2 million people can be infected in a single day. Data he attributed to Michael Horger, who has a PhD, assistant professor at Tulane University School of Medicine, who leads the Pandemic Mitigation Collaborative's data tracker. They have all new place, Pandemic Mitigation Collaborative. That's like a whole new school club, I guess, to track data and stuff. But I want to show you this, if I can get this to come up. Oh, hold on. Now we're running into Twitter. How does this work? Can I turn you sideways and show you? Sure. Okay. So let's see if y'all can see this. Can y'all see that? This is the graph that they're talking about, saying that, oh, hey, we just randomly got bigger. There you go. All right. So grower, not a shower, I guess. Sorry, my bad on that. So that's the graph they're showing. Pandemic raging, and then down. Now, why this is important? You're like, Michelle, why is this important? Let me explain why this is important. Because this part right here. Are you ready, y'all? And then you understand, I have to lead up to these things. If I just went bam without the lead up, you'd be like, the hell is the bam all about? You have to lead up to get to the point, okay? So, according to this, yes, the U.S. is in the middle of a C-19 wave in 2024. Multiple experts are telling Today.com. Oh, this is the part. The CDC no longer tracks positive COVID tests and instead relies on the presence of the virus wastewater to determine how widespread it is. Indeed, a CDC chart of national and regional C-19 trends in wastewater, sewage water, wastewater. We just talked about what California's doing. Are you putting it together here? COVID trends in wastewater shows a national viral activity rate of 11.23 from the week ending December 23, 2023, which is the most recent data available, is higher than anything seen since January of 2022. As far back as the publicly available CDC data goes. The national rate for the week ending January 15th of 2022 was 22.78. What's more, the next round of CDC wastewater data may show a further rise in viral activity after accounting for infections from Christmas gatherings, experts say. Now, here's why this is important. Here is why this is important. The CDC wastewater program. We literally just talked about how California is converting wastewater into pure drinking water. The wastewater that CDC now tests to see how many people have COVID. CDC's wastewater, which is the NWSS program, wastewater or sewage, can be tested to detect traces of infectious diseases circulating in a community, even if people don't have symptoms. You can use these data as an early warning that levels of infections may be increasing or decreasing in your community. While SARS-CoV-2 can be shed in the feces of individuals with COVID-19, there is no information to date that anyone has become sick with C19 because of direct exposure to treated or untreated wastewater. Okay, look, these are all my notes. Y'all see them? They're right here. Now, here we go. Let me open this one up here, just because. Coronavirus and drinking wastewater. Okay, this is from the EPA.gov. There is no higher priority for the EPA than protecting the health and safety of Americans. I call BS on that, but y'all know how I feel about them after the whole Norfolk Southern East Palestine derailment and subsequent intentional release of chemicals into the ground and intentional setting on fire of said chemicals and intentional of just pretending like nothing bad happened to the people of East Palestine, Ohio. Anyway, EPA is providing this important information about C19 as it relates to drinking water and wastewater to provide clarity to the public. Already, I don't believe them. The C19 virus has not been detected in drinking water supplies. The C19... Y'all heard that, right? The EPA says the C19 virus has not been detected in drinking water supplies. So my question is, if it's in wastewater and they're turning wastewater into drinking water, we have filters that can just completely filter out like C19. And what if something makes its way through? I have so many questions. Anyway, based on current evidence, the risk to water supplies is low, not zero. The risk is low, which means there is a little room for risk of C19 in your drinking water, especially now that they are converting the known C19 wastewater into pure drinking water for you and I, your parents, your children, your cousins, your uncles, your aunts, your friends, everybody, okay? Americans can continue to use and drink water from their tap as usual. EPA also encourages the public to help keep household plumbing in our nation's water infrastructure operating properly by only flushing toilet paper. No more goldfish. They don't say that. I said the goldfish part. Disinfecting wipes and other items should be disposed of in the trash, not the toilet. Former Administrator Andrew Wheeler sent a letter to governors in all 50 states, territories, tribes, and Washington, D.C., requesting that water and wastewater workers, as well as the manufacturers and suppliers who provide vital services and materials to the water sector, are considered essential workers and businesses by state authorities when acting restrictions to curb the spread of C19, because they are worried about having to close things down again. Now, let me explain something to you, or better yet, let me just make this little picture here bigger. Here. Y'all, I'm just going to show you. This is my picture here. You see these little jugs of water? Okay. I said, is wastewater converted to drinking water? Okay. A number of communities here have for years been blending highly purified wastewater into aquifers and reservoirs before people can drink it, a practice known in the parlance of engineers and resource managers as indirect potable reuse, which is what we talked about already with what the Reuters article, with what California has said they will now be doing to their wastewater, the same wastewater that the CDC tests now to see how many people have C19, because they're not going off actual tests. So then this guy who says, 1 in 3 Americans are going to have C19, are they just estimating that out of the feces and the water that they're taking their samples from? Like, how are we getting our numbers these days? How do we get our numbers in the early days? Some might probably pulled those out their butt too. So here's my questions. These are my questions. Does this mean that all you need to keep C19 at bay is a water filter and not a jab? Like, is that how that works? Anyway, and also, does this mean they are knowingly let it spread so they can push the jab again? I'm just curious about that. You now have people walking around in masks again, which is fine. Whatever you feel is necessary for you, perfectly fine. Just because I'm not going to do it doesn't mean you shouldn't if it's necessary for your health. There are people out there who definitely need the mask, but they needed it before C19, and they're going to need it way longer down the road because they are immunocompromised, and it makes perfect sense. I will never, ever be the person who sees somebody with a mask on and is like, look at that idiot. No, because people wear them for specific reasons, and that is up to you. You do you, boo. I'm not going to judge you for it. I'm just not going to be the one who does it unless somehow, some way I need to because I have become immunocompromised, right? Now, I will say that watch the water has been said numerous times. Hell, I've said it numerous times throughout the last couple of years with all the chemicals we've had in our water and everything else. But to me, this is going to be a bigger deal because we've all had the conversations and heard the talk of, well, they're going to put things into the lettuce. They're going to put things into the meat. They're going to put things into the whatever to give you the, well, what if they're putting things into other things to force you to, you know what I'm saying? You're drinking water. Perhaps, sorry, I gave myself hiccups. It does not seem far-fetched to me at all. It does not seem far-fetched. Now, I will say, my dog, I told you guys yesterday, my dog, my golden doodle, Maxie Poo, well, his name is Max, Maximilian. Sometimes it's Senor Max, Senor Maximus. It just depends on the day and his attitude, what his name really truly is, but normally it's just Max. Sometimes, Maxie Poo normally. Anyway, he had a little bit of a tummy issue. He had literal liquid poop at 3 o'clock in the morning and again at 6 o'clock in the morning day before yesterday. Yesterday, he was like, you know what? I'm not eating a damn bit of dog food. You're not giving me nothing. I want nothing to eat. I won't eat the rice. I won't eat the sweet potatoes because you guys said give him sweet potato puree, give him pumpkin puree, give him plain white rice, maybe some boiled chicken. And I followed all your advice because I trust you guys, right? And also I did a little research myself, but also I trusted you because we're all on the same page there. But he wanted nothing to do with any of it. And then I had people saying, well, be careful because Purina has had recalls. And we talked about that a little bit ago. They've had some recalls on some of their food. And he does use which I'm pretty sure is Purina, the Beneful, no, that's Beneful, Healthy Beneful, whatever, the chicken one. He likes that one a lot, right? But he would not touch anything yesterday. So today when I took him out to poop, I was like, oh gosh, fingers crossed that, because how do you pick up liquid poop with a plastic baggie? You don't. It's real difficult. Trust me. I tried it at 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. But today he went out and it was normal poop and he's bouncing all over the place like nothing's wrong. So I am ecstatic. He just killed an entire bowl of some with the kibble-y stuff and some rice and some sweet potato in it. We just smorgasborded his bowl and he killed it. So I'll let you know later or tomorrow, not that you care, but I'm gonna tell you anyway, tomorrow if his poop came out like it's supposed to or if it was like, man, we're back to the runs. Hopefully not. But I thought about it being the water. The man, Kevin247 on YouTube, if you guys don't know, asked me the same thing. He said, could it be a difference between drinking tap water in Georgia at your mom's house versus the filtered water that I give him here? I filter his water. I'm not giving him municipal water straight from the tap if I don't have to. I don't do anything with municipal water straight from the tap. I boil everything. I filter everything. So I knew it wasn't that. If it had been the tap water there, he would have had the runs there, not here. So I don't know. I think it was stress. I know stress can have an effect. And, the car ride home from Georgia, that's a 6.5-hour ride. And then just the difference between being able to run around outdoors and being back in an apartment, I think it was stress. So the good news for today is my dog seems to be on the mend. If you guys watch Squirrel Tribe 2.0 at all the past couple weeks, and I think I mentioned it here also, my kid was really sick. She bounced back perfectly fine after going to the ER and everything else. She's been great. Nobody got sick after her. So hallelujah there. So that's like the good stuff, the silver lining of everything today for me. And hopefully there's a silver lining in your day as well. And I'd love to hear about it if you guys want to share it. So Squirrel Tribe, thank you for being here and hanging out. She's walking her doggy next to me. I don't know what kind of dog it is though. It's very cute. It's a white dog. And she's got one of those little leashes that you put around your waist so you can train them to not hold them, which sounds great, but I've met my dog, and if a cat would go by, he would take off running and then drag me face first along the concrete with him if I had his leash wrapped around my waist. So we're not going to do that. I'm not that ballsy. So that's that. Anyway, Squirrel Tribe, thank you for being here and talking about this. I want to know your thoughts on this. Have you heard of your city, your municipality, whatever? Have they mentioned if they have any plans on converting your sewage water into pure drinking water? I'm just curious who all's doing that. I've looked it up here. They're not doing it in my area, but they're doing it in other people's areas. So let me know if, and your thoughts on that. I'm very curious on your thoughts on everything we just talked about here. So thank you for being here. I love you all immensely. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.